Arkane Studios has built a following over the last decade with its expertise in developing immersive sims. Games that facilitate unpredictable stories and emergent gameplay through player choice, complex AI, persistent systems, and sandbox level design. These experiences dynamically react to what the player is doing. Whether you prefer to solve a problem through aggression or stealth, you can meaningfully interact with the play space in numerous ways. Arkane titles are noteworthy for their prestigious missions and mechanics. Dishonored introduced the series' signature blink and possession abilities, along with the celebrated Masquerade Ball mission. The studio doubled down on its elaborate environments in Dishonored 2's Clockwork Mansion, an estate filled with moving floors and walls, one of the most impressive video game levels ever designed. Prey included a swath of interesting tools, including the glue cannon, which can trap enemies in quick hardening foam or be used to create bridges and scalable pathways to climb to out-of-reach areas. Like the best immersive sims, Deathloop encourages you to use its robust suite of tools to poke at its many systems and environments to differing results, which then allows you to piece together the best route through any place. However, unlike its predecessors, Deathloop doesn't have one specific mission, ability, or weapon that stands out as the best part of the adventure. Instead, it showcases how a game's many elements can interact with one another to create a truly unique experience. Deathloop is a game of patterns, and it requires you to observe and learn before you can hope to break them. Specifically, the game's level design and time of day system work together to create a setting that invites exploration and houses adaptive characters to provide consequences to player actions. Add in a consistent rule set and shared design language that permeates every aspect of Deathloop, and you'll understand why the title is one of the best releases of 2021. I'm Alex Van Aken from Game Informer, and this is how Deathloop works. Recognizing the full capabilities of protagonist Colt's toolset is a crucial step in understanding how to solve problems in Deathloop. Every player starts the game with a machete for silent or not so silent kills, a shoddy SMG called the Limp 10, and the Hack-a-Majig, your primary means for interfacing with electronics in the environment. From there, Colt slowly grows his arsenal by looting enemy belongings, following breadcrumbs leading to unique weapons. The PT-6 Spiker is a pressurized nail gun, which is my favorite tool for stealth headshots, but you can also look for a silenced Tribunal if you prefer a faster rate of fire. Maybe you want to make a frenzied entrance with powerhouses such as the Strelak 50/50 shotgun or Peppermill heavy assault rifle. Deathloop's extensive roster of weapons is crucial, but the ability-granting slabs are the real star of the show. Fans of Dishonored will recognize two abilities, Blink and Domino, which are now called Shift and Nexus respectively. The former allows you to teleport a short distance, either vertically or horizontally, while the latter links multiple enemies together so if one dies, they all die. The remaining slabs unlock invisibility, telekinesis, and an ability called Havoc, which significantly decreases incoming damage and boosts attack power. While these tools are essential, they wouldn't be nearly as fun to handle if the space you wield them in wasn't equally well crafted. Luckily, every level in Deathloop is a playground. Black Reef is divided into 4 districts: Freestad Rock, Updom, the Complex, and Carl's Bay, each home to several of Colt's targets. Inspired by the 1960s, the island's modernist architecture features glass, reinforced concrete, long and curved shapes, and of course, lots of colors. Deathloop's clubs, carnival-like sideshows, and reclaimed military installations populate the game's unconventional landscape, each of these attractions housing clues that lead to the visionary's vulnerabilities. Practically, these points of interest make the island of Black Reef an exciting space to explore. Each environment is a labyrinth of lavish interiors, weather-worn exteriors, not so obvious paths, and an abundance of verticality. While they offer unique challenges to resolve, like a space-themed funhouse run by a sentient computer or a masked party housed behind the walls of a fortress, each area shares the same bones. This detail is essential for cultivating a consistent experience. Regardless of where a player is oriented, they can apply their learnings to navigate from one level to the next. For example, you can always shatter panes of glass, open windows for a quick escape, or destroy a generator to break whatever device it's powering. Whether Colt is running through the streets of Updom or sneaking through science labs in the complex, his Hack-a-Majig functions dependably. You can hack any electronic with an antenna or motion sensor.
This includes simple things like locked doors and window shutters to jukeboxes, camera sensors, and automated turrets. Turrets and field nullifiers, which render slabs useless within their proximity, can be remotely triggered from a distance too. However, when events get hectic in Deathloop, and they do, you need a simple way to keep track of which electronics you've already hijacked. Luckily, hazards like turrets and motion sensors shine blue when functioning normally and green once they are friendly to you, so you can always understand which objects in the environment pose a threat, even when bullets are whizzing by at high speeds. Ultimately, the game's persistent rules give players a level of comfort that leads to strategic experimentation and exploration. Part of the charm of some games is that sense of transport, says Harvey Smith, studio director at Arkane Austin, in a Bethesda blog from August 2020. Being in a well-realized place that feels plausible and coherent, complete. A game with thoughtful level design surprises you, ironically, by matching expectations. Guards follow paths from where they live or drink to where they're posted. They don't just exist in place forever to fight you. They did not just materialize there with no walkway or path back to a plausible start point. Similarly, if you can get on the rooftop, you might expect to find a bird's nest up there, maybe with some valuable trinket inside. Letting the players deviate from the path, explore, follow their whims, and then paying that off gives players a sense of agency and ownership over their experience in the game world. That's definitely a large ingredient in our secret sauce. In Deathloop, Arkane continues to engineer these moments of discovery, and the game's time of day system bolsters this effort. As previously mentioned, Black Reef's districts are accessible at 4 different times: morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. The level's features change throughout the day, each offering new clues, routes, and equipment depending on the time of your visit. Again, Colt can only tour one island region per time frame, and the visionaries he's hunting are only vulnerable at certain times. Updam, the island's party capital, presents a few opportunities for you to interrupt enemy plans. Colt's apartment holds necessary details related to the story, and a couple of handy tools like the PT-6 spiker. However, you'll find his home ransacked unless you visit in the morning before the vandalism takes place. You can investigate Space Invader at noon, a funhouse created by one of your targets, Charlie Montague. After beating him at his own game, you'll get the Shift Slab, which I'd argue is the most beneficial ability in the game. While the festivities quiet down in the afternoon, players can return to Updam in the evening to attend the Devouring of the Lambs party, an endgame event I don't want to spoil. However, one specific example exhibits how Deathloop's time of day system and level design work together to create fantastic moments of discovery: the boat workshop safe. Freestad Rock lies between Black Reef's mountainous region and its shore. The area is home to reclaimed military bunkers, stockpiles of ammunition, and a groovy music club owned by a visionary named Ramblin' Frank. The latter is a favored meeting spot in the morning as partygoers continue their festivities from the night before. But the venue is closed in the afternoon as the remnants of a snowfall blanket the landscape in white. Chill winds race across Black Reef's icy waters, freezing over its shoreline and presenting new paths for exploration. By following the floating pieces of ice across the coast, you'll eventually discover a watercraft beached atop an iceberg in a previously inaccessible area off the shore. Carefully make your way across the cracked ice. Colt will die if he falls in, and you'll find an already opened safe with a manufacturer's note inside. The salt-scented page contains the password to open the strongbox, but its owner has already looted the belongings inside. While this finding seemed like the beginning of a fun mystery to me, it may have been the end of the journey for other players. In the morning, the boat resides in a workshop on the edge of Carl's Bay. The safe and watercraft are both connected to a generator, locked and secured. However, if you visit the same place later, the boat and safe are missing. Of course, that's because the ship crashes onto the frozen beaches of Freestad Rock in the afternoon. The neat thing about this puzzle, and many others in Deathloop, is players can begin it from entirely different locations because of the time loop. While I found the crashed boat in Freestad Rock and knew the safe's combination before ever knowing its origin, another player could have seen the strongbox in Carl's Bay but lacked the code to open it. Regardless of the order in which you discover this mystery, you can visit places at different times to gain the contextual clues needed to solve it. Nevertheless, the game rewards you for your efforts in the end, and it's so satisfying.
Deathloop is the best game I've played this year, masterfully engineered by the talented minds at Arkane Studios. Black Reef's environments are full of curiosities and are quick to reward my eagerness to understand their elaborateness. The game's time of day system makes me feel more like a resident than a tourist, as another equally fascinating mystery replaces the one I've just unraveled.
The characters that populate Black Reef act naturally, with their agenda, patrols, and attentiveness evolving alongside their surroundings, adding believability and challenge to the world. But despite its many mysteries, Deathloop prioritizes consistency, as it's this attribute that empowers players to engage with it on their terms. There isn't one particular thread greater than the rest. Instead, Deathloop is an impressive intersection of stories and gameplay systems woven together to create a tapestry deserving of your attention. Hey everybody, this is Alex from Game Informer. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to click that like button and subscribe to the Game Informer YouTube channel. And as always, head over to GameInformer.com for the latest news, previews, reviews, and features on your favorite upcoming and past games.